flowers on the stage. So here we are with Ray Paczkowski, keys player for LaMP Trio with Russ Lawton and Scott Metzger, as well as Soule Monde and of course Trey Anastasio Band. Ray, so glad to have you here. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you, Cam.
Yes, sir. So yeah, starting this off, what have been like some of your favorite parts of your job recently?
I love playing. I've always loved playing with Russ in particular, just because his drumming, the rhythms he has, and he actually lives the next town over for me in Vermont. So over the past 20 years or so, we just started playing together, making stuff up, and it's just been an amazing journey, like just really fun. I just love working with that guy, and then having Scott part of it. That's just icing on the cake kind of thing. But it's just we know each other very well, and we are just completely relaxed musically with each other, and it just makes it really fun.
Mm. I'd love to hear like from your perspective, some of the things, your favorite aspects of Russ and Scott when it comes to getting to work with them, play with them.
Um, First is they're both very humble people. Like they have no there's no like ego stuff, like I need to be the greatest or, that kind of crap. It's just about the music. And we're all intently concerned with making it really good for each one of us individually and then as a whole. So you're constantly listening and sensing what the other people are feeling or thinking musically. And I love that about those guys because it's so genuine, and there's no acting. It's just solely about the music, to my mind anyways. They might disagree, I don't know.
Maybe it depends on the day.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are the ideal qualities of someone who makes a great leader of a group?
That they're not the leader, that they don't it's not like in this particular group there is no leader. It's completely egalitarian sort of thing. Everyone sort of has certain abilities or sensibilities that like Russ deals with the a lot of the logistical stuff, and he's got a really good sense for um I don't know what the word would be, what's the right thing to do. And I'm just kind of here to sort of pick up whatever's left and keep the van running, but it's really but as far as your question, what makes a good leader, like I'll say it again, like they don't appear to be leading, like it's just a natural, hey, this is the best thing to do, and you develop a consensus and get everyone on board, and everyone's like, yeah, this was my idea, or like that to me is really good leadership. But it's not hammering through to get your own way, because that's just getting your own way. That's not leading a group to make something bigger than the individuals, I think.
Right. So then pivoting to just artistic collaboration, what would you say is the most important thing? What would you say is the best advice you can think of when it comes to being a great collaborator?
Two things. First is listen. I mean, that sounds like a simple thing, but it's not that simple, because sometimes you can't listen past what you feel like you want to hear. And so when you don't hear that, you're like, this, I can't get behind this somehow. I can't lose myself in the music because it's not what you're expecting. So you have to really learn to listen and just hear stuff that you're not expecting to hear. And that allows any number of more complex ideas to blossom or bloom or whatever you want to call it. And the other one I would say is, um, kind of in the same line, but it's just letting go of any preconceptions you have about what, if you hear a rhythm, Russ starts a rhythm, and if I hear one thing, Scott hears another thing, there's a tension that develops that is incredibly valuable to my mind in music. And that's what makes stuff really interesting to me.
Mm.
And so it's not everyone's like completely on board with like, oh, we're going into this hard swing. There's like this little tension stuff that happens because it's not stuff you have to talk about. Like if you start talking about it, it just sort of gets whitewashed. I don't know how to explain it. But those two things, listening and letting go, I think are invaluable. And you make your statement, you play what you want to play, and this is what I want to do. But and so you can't hold back from that if you hear something different, but you just sort of automatically you're I don't know, the river kind of moves a little bit and
Sure.
musically, and I think that's incredibly important.
I love it.
There, I said it.
What's something with your own creative process that you kind of stay away from doing that you think is beneficial?
Oh, I don't know. There's a million words for it. With flooding the zone, like just putting so much out there at once that it's kind of indecipherable. That there's no room. It it's kind of finding. I do this when I'm writing music too. You find a simple, basic idea or melody or rhythm, whatever it might be, something that kind of moves you or moves me, so that I'm always humming it or feeling it or thinking about it, and then just slowly develop that. Think of other melodies that go, but the key thing is not to overplay. Like one of the really nice things about being in an organ trio is that I get to play bass, and so I one hand is always doing that, unless it's not, there's no bass. And so it's like who was it? Robert Frost always said, writing free verse is like playing tennis without a net. Like what's the point? There's no I
Yeah.
think that's what he meant. But it's kind of like that. It's like, but you're kind of putting rules on what it is you're doing, and it just focuses it more. I
Mm.
guess I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah. There needs to be some sort of path, maybe.
Yeah, whatever it is, arrangement or feel, um, some kind of some kind of limiting factor,
Mm.
I think, and that will concentrate the idea. And so you get rid of a lot of extraneous stuff. It's like Trey is always talking about this. He's like, you have to use the other end of the pencil more than you use the writing part. And he's
Mm.
really right. It's really true. It's like don't add stuff, like take it away, and you'll be surprised what you hear.
Mm. So pivoting a little bit, when it comes to being an artist and like defining success, that's not necessarily so clear cut. I'd love to hear for you on like a day-to-day basis how you define success for yourself.
Success for myself is if I do a gig playing music and I'm driving home and it's this feeling of catharsis, like when the music does that, that to me is success. It's like that you have created with people, or if you're solo by yourself, doesn't matter, a music that is completely genuine and real and cathartic, I guess is the word. That it's an emotional thing, but I don't know, it's like, you know, sitting in a sauna or something. You come out, you're like, oh. It's like that to me is success, because you work all your life. You want to play music, you want to play. I just want to play really good music, that as I'm playing it makes me feel a certain way, and doesn't always happen. There's all kinds of roadblocks to that, whether it's the sound that you're hearing or how you're feeling, whatever it is. So it doesn't happen all the time, But when it does, that to me that's success.
What might you say it is about music that can cause for it to heal people?
It's like any, well, not like any other kind of art, but it's art in the sense that, to my mind, art, what makes something art is that it's a way to communicate to someone else the emotional content of the piece of work. So, like you look at a painting and it makes you feel something. Well, that's why the painter painted it, because it made that painter feel that. That's what they expressed through that feeling. And music is the same thing. Like you hear someone, wailing the blues and it's real. Like you feel that. Like every human has felt that pain or joy or whatever it is. And that's, you can do it without words too. Beethoven was amazing at that. Just like putting an emotion into a piece of music. Sit there, listen to that stuff and weep, you know. So that to me is what that is.
In what ways would you say the time you spent like improvising, performing on stage, and in what ways would you say that's kind of changed you?
That's a good question. Changed me. Boy, I think it's if anything, it's sort of made me who I am, I guess. But, it's not that your life is your work or your work is your life. It's, I don't know, the the work that I do with and the people I do it with has shown me what, humanity, like the people in the world, like I don't know, there's a being on stage with musicians who are, you know, in it for the right reasons, maybe is would be the right phrase, just for the music, and most musicians are, it's really comes down to the music. Like you want to feel something. But doing that for many years, and the people that you meet and the friendships and there's any number of people that I don't see for years, and then catch up with them on the road somewhere. And it's like no time has gone by. It's like it's a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it.
Love to hear something about music itself, not like what it's like being a professional musician, but the music as a concept that you believe now that when you were younger, you didn't necessarily believe.
Huh. Well, I'm not sure how to answer that question, but I can tell you that from since I was a young kid, um, sitting down at the piano and playing. At some point, up to a certain point, it was just, piano lessons and like you learn to play a song. My sister was a great pianist. She was really virtuosic, but it didn't move her in any way. It was just like doing math or something. That's what she would always say. And I was always like, wow, how can you do that? But from a young age, or at some point, I think teenager, maybe 15, 14, somewhere around there. Maybe my mom would say even way earlier, but I don't remember that. But just sitting down and playing the piano was an emotional, it I was releasing something in me through the music,
Mm.
through just playing. I was feeling something and it was getting expressed somehow. And I couldn't have told you that at the time. Like I didn't know what it was. You're just a kid, but many years later I would understand that that's what that was, because I stopped playing for a little while when I was in my 20s. A lot of different things happened in my life, and I wasn't able to play very much and didn't have a band and all that kind of stuff. And I went nuts, and I was really just feeling terrible, and I didn't know why. And I sat down at the piano one day at a college nearby where I live and played for like 3 hours and walked out, and I was like, oh, I feel so much better. It was like, people say, musicians have to play, and I really think it's true. It's a release of it's some kind of psychological, emotional release. So it keeps me sane
I
or
love it.
insane. I don't know.
I love it. Kind of the same question asked in a different way. Would love to hear something about life that you believe now that you didn't believe when you were younger.
About life. Ah, I think I think I believed this when I was younger, but I didn't know it to be true. And that is, there's a million ways to put it. Enjoy every sandwich. Like when the thing is there, whatever it is, when the moment is happening, just be there and enjoy it, because that's, in the end, that's what life is. It's it's right now.
Mhm.
You could be nervous or mad or whatever it is, but just recognize that, I don't know, you're feeling this and here you are, and it's a beautiful, amazing thing. And tomorrow's another day till it's not. It's like, wow, I get to do this again and again. It's pretty great.
I love it.
So I believe that.
I'd love to hear what advice you can share about, living a life you can look back on and be proud of.
Living life you can look back on and be proud of. If you have, I hesitate to say dream, but it's kind of an apt word. A dream, an idea, or something you do that you believe in your heart is important and valuable, at least to you. And if it's valuable to you, it's probably valuable to humanity. And you don't pursue it, you might regret that, even if it's just a hobby. But I mean, I was always driven to, like, I heard music as a kid that I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I didn't want to play that music because it was already played, like that was already done. But that just put in me this idea that I feel something a little different from that, and I want to express it and write this music. And over the years, I'm never going to be a Miles Davis or those. That's a whole other thing. And I've come to accept that. And it's like, just all you have to do is express yourself. Write the best music, play the best music you can, and that's enough. Like that. My advice is if you, for music anyways, is if you want to play music, just play it. Just go out there and play it. Don't worry about what anyone thinks about it. It's like, oh, are they going to like my song? Are they going to like this? Or they just do it. Because you don't know. It's a big world. There's a lot of people out there, and you're gonna. I remember I wrote this tune years ago, put it on an album with this trio I had, Vorja, and I got this email. This was like at the beginning of emails. I didn't even really know. I got this email from a stranger who somehow figured out how to get a hold of me. And it was like a 3-page email from someone in LA, just like expressing that, talking about the song that I had written and put on this record, just saying how it just moved him to tears because of what was going on in his life, and what was going on in his life, I guess. And I had written that having gone through like a similar thing this guy was talking about. And that to me was like, whoa. So you never know. You just, maybe it helped that guy, maybe it didn't. I don't know. That's not why you do music, but it's all part and parcel of the same thing.
Well, what a great chat, Ray. This has been awesome. Thank you for taking the time.
All
And
right. Yeah, no, this is fun.
yeah, everyone out there listening, if you listen this far, thank you. We got links in the description. Check out LaMP's new album, One of Us, out now, and as well as all their upcoming tour dates. So yeah, got links in the description. Again, thank you.